Are you ready for the PATS Nation? The only real deal Patriot postgame show. And now, CORSO CATONE.
Welcome into the PATS Nation, the only Patriots postgame show worth watching. Week 5 of the NFL season sees the Patriots travel to the Houston Texans and barely beat them on a last-second field goal by Nick Folk to go to 2-3, 25-22, and Chris Corso alongside of Joe Guarnieri, our producer, director, and now the talent today. Joe, you're doing you got the trifecta going today, 3 out of 3.
Always the talent. Always the talent. Yeah, man, we're here. Rock it out.
And you. We're joined by you. Check us out. Joe's got us up live on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. You can catch us at Podbean or anywhere that you podcast. Hey, check us out also on Twitter. There's some funny tweets up there at CORSO_Catone. You can email us, corso.catone@gmail.com. And always give us a call. Either leave a message, give us a call live, 855-313-PATS, 855-313-7287. And, Joe, we got a lot of stuff to unwrap today. We're going to have Mac Mania, our Sunday stiff, of course. And, listen, a new feature today, Coach's Corner. So that's going to replace the player that will not be named by me again on this show. So, listen, Joe, give me your impressions of this one. I mean, I got a lot to say, and, you know, I seem happy right now. I got my blue shirt on because they won.
You should be. I mean, at this point, you know, we got to take them whenever we can get them. You know what I mean? Especially since, you know, the Patriots just kind of – they give us well, they don't ever disappoint when it comes to keeping us on our toes.
Irritating and
keeping us on our toes, whether or not they're gonna, like, you can hear my voice a little scratchly because
screaming at the TV,
screaming at the you know, plays that should have been made, plays that you know, were made, and you're like, see, that's it can happen. We can actually do this.
Right.
So my first impressions of the whole game is, it's, you know, kind of a nail biter so early in the season, but still fun to watch and see him win. You know.
Well, and listen, before I get to my initial thoughts, we want to welcome in already some people on the chat on YouTube. Mark Capaldi, welcome in. Looks like Steve Belichick is likely out with Hunter Biden. I like that. I like that comment. And also, you know, Paula Hopkins joined us, our normal regular listener. So she likes the pumpkin, Joe.
Yes. I had to bring back Mark's pumpkin. You know, he's here in spirit. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So, Joe, listen, I understand they won, and I get it. Okay, but I'm a New Englander at heart, so I'm going to give you all the negatives. I'm going to give you all the things I'm irritated with and pissed off with, because you know what? It shouldn't have come to this. You know, they play a great game last week against Tampa. Defense looks good, and they were atrocious today. I mean, they were absolutely atrocious, allowing 300 and change and 3 touchdowns by Mills.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know who Mills was coming into today?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Exactly. No. So we got, as I said, we got a lot to get to. So let's jump in to probably one of the bright spots, sort of, on the day. So let's get to Mac Mania, Joe. Here we go.
Yeah, let's do some Mac Mania.
So Mac Jones was 22 of 30 today, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, and then that 1 lone interception. Had a good day. I mean, had a good day. You know, that interception was a bad one. I haven't put a lot on him this season, you know, mistake-wise. I mean, I've given him a lot of props. That one was a bad throw. I mean, that was a bad decision. And, you know, he flirted with that throughout in the first half. He flirted with a couple of few throws that were questionable that he probably shouldn't have made, and then it finally got to him.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, you expect some of that from a rookie, obviously. You know, maybe not against the Texans, but you expect some of that. You know, but all in all, I thought he did well. At one point, he was 9 for 9, Joe.
Yeah.
You know, in his pass attempt. So, again, he's a bright spot right now. He's a guy that's coming on and playing well, and he's taking deeper shots down the field. I don't know if you've noticed that, but he's going down the field more. So
I
mean,
kind of noticed it anyways because I just like I'm pro Mac Jones because I like the new era he provides with the team. You know what I mean? That fire that he is lit just because he's the new guy, and when he's doing things that are right, or at least to our eyes, we're like, okay, maybe an interception wasn't so on the page, but it's also like, all right, you see him getting it, and I like watching the progression. And we're only a few games in, so it's like it's nice to see that,
Yeah, and they finally threw into the end zone today from the red zone, and lo and behold, he hits Hunter Henry on a nice throw. I mean, it could have been a little bit underthrown. Yeah, the defender came a little bit close to tipping that ball for an incompletion, but he got it over him and he completed the pass. So they allowed him to throw into the end zone, and he got the touchdown pass, and which was much needed at the time. Joe, listen, he's spreading the ball, and again, I'm not going to name the player, but we've seen this before out of rookie or second year quarterback for this team. He hit that 7 different receivers today again. Wow. So he's spreading the ball all around. I mean, Hunter Henry was his main target today. And I talked about that yesterday. We talked about getting the tight ends involved more. They paid all this. Yeah, they paid all this money to, and they finally did it. Hunter Henry had 8 attempts, 6 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown. I'd like to see Jonnu Smith get a little more involved in the passing game, but he had some good blocks today. So, I mean, Joe, listen, how do you like? He seems it's weird because when you listen to him in a post game. He sounds like a 14-year-old talking. I keep thinking his voice is going to crack every so often, like he's just like his hormones are running wild. But I mean, you're a student of people. I mean, of reading people and so on. How do you see him on the field?
It's one of those things where I look at him, and again, because he's the rookie, I see what I like to see is that he's got like a hint of that maturity. In some cases, people call it that a veteran sort of feel about him, that he's got his reads and everything like that. But when he moves, I see the rookie and, getting in the pocket and moving out of the pocket, or at least, scrambling in and around the pocket and moving up. And when, he's getting closed in on things like that, I see the rookie, right? And his movement in that regard, I'm like, yeah, okay, but I also see him getting it. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm going to name the name that you don't want to name. It took Brady like how many years? Like 15 years to start moving like normal. Like he actually started moving toward the end of his career here in New England. Like, I'm like, oh, finally, this guy's, whatever he's doing, yoga, whatever it is, he's moving better. He looked faster. And that's what I feel like Mac Jones needs to kind of do is follow in the footsteps of learning how to get in and around and move, because he's not the fastest nor the most nimble sort of player. You know what I mean?
No, but I thought he was pretty mobile today in the sense of who you're talking about. I feel like he was
for sure.
Pretty, because he's shifting in the pocket, he's stepping up, he's sidestepping a lot of different rush. He's while keeping his eyes down the field.
Yeah.
Which is what you want from a quarterback. You don't see that. Hey, look, out of all the rookies right now, Trey Lance, you got Wilson, who's just atrocious. I mean, I think anybody who ever steps foot in New York for the Jets sucks automatically. Just because they play for the Jets, they suck.
You just hit the curse.
Exactly. But out of these guys, Lance, Fields, Wilson, these guys, he's probably playing the best out of all of them, although Mills had a real good game today. He's a rookie too. But yeah, Mac Jones, his poise in the pocket, his movement in the pocket, it's pretty damn good. Again, he threw a couple of balls
to this week. That's how good. That's where you see the progression, because against Tampa, it's like he wasn't moving as quickly, but now a week later, he's getting those moves now, and you're going, this kid's progressing quickly, and that's the part that I generally enjoy seeing. That, like, okay, somebody's getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's plenty of guys on the rest of the team that aren't getting it. And so again, spreading the ball around, doing a good job, moving the ball when they need to down the field. Like to see him finish a couple more drives with touchdowns in the red zone, but I think that's on play call, and we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. So Mac Mania was brought to us by Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success, specialsaucepodcast.com. And Joe, moving to the rest of the offense now, this uneven performance by the team today, I didn't see it in the offense. In fact, we're going to jump right into the offensive line, because that offensive line that was supposed to be touted as going to be the best part of this team. We talked about that. Mark and I talked about that coming into the season, that they should be one of the best O-lines in football. Well, I hate to say it, but they've sucked. I mean, they've sucked coming into today. I mean, right or wrong. Mac Jones has been hit like 44 times.
That's the thing.
With 10 sacks.
He's got to move. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I mean, and he had, I think there was 2 more sacks on him today. So he's been sacked like 12 times, and he's been hit like 50 times. And he's on pace to break the record. Matt Ryan has it right now of getting hit the most I think 100 and I think I hit 124 or 5 times in a season. Mac Jones is on pace to get hit 144 times.
Yeah. Was there
he's not going to last, man.
I thought there was one, but that was late in the game. But the guy who sacked him, it was like his 3rd sack, and all 3 sacks he's gotten against the Patriots. So it's like, what is that person doing? And what films are they watching that we're still doing the same thing, that dude's still getting the sacks against the one team that they play when, once or twice a season, and they haven't played them yet this season till today. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, they tend to be, they're the good players, they're the guys. Yeah. See, those are the guys they're trying to get free. They're trying to free up because they can finish plays. They had one. I correct myself. They had 1 sack today. So he's been sacked 11 times on the season. Times. So,
what is that? Who's got the math out there that will give you the averages of during the whole season, how many that will amount to toward the end of the season? Is that like?
Well, I mean, you just project. You project it out over the weeks. But so for the offensive line, I tell you what, they're one of my bright spots today. And listen, 4 out of 5 starters were gone today, with the exception of David Andrews at center. Which if anybody was going to stay, play, you want your center to. Of course, they're making all the calls across the line, but those 4 guys that came in, and even Heron, who I've been torturing all season long, although he had the worst of the 5 today game. But the rest of those guys today, I was impressed with what they did. They were able to they blocked it up pretty well in the running game. Obviously, they rushed for 126 yards off 30 carries. That's damn good. Yeah. And in the passing game, they pretty much, as I said, 1 sack. He got hit a few times, but they kept him pretty clean. Much, much better than what we've seen out of the starting offensive line. So for me, stay the hell keep them on the friggin' bench then. If this group is going to work well together, then keep them out. Let them play every week.
That's the thing. It's finding that those elements to work well as a team to, because obviously you can't win on your own individually. You know what I mean? And you got to get out there, and everybody does their job. Everybody's in there in the game, but some people, just don't mix well sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can mix it up.
No, I'm with you. And this hopefully this combination works well. And look, that brings, as I said, they're blocking in the run game. Offensive linemen would rather run block than they would pass block. They would rather be moving forward than backward, always. So when you're not right as an offensive line, and that was the Patriots, that was their deal today. They want to come in today and run the football. I mean, that's what they wanted to do. They ran for 126 yards. They committed to it, and they did it, And so, I was impressed with the offensive line. Now, the running backs, okay? I mean, you know how I feel about Bolden. Okay.
Yeah, I can ask that question, though, because, here's the thing about Bolden for me is that, I feel like Belichick's got some soft spot for him, but I also, had this.
Oh, that's his guy. Are you kidding me? That's his friggin' guy. I mean, it's been his guy for like 8 years. He sucks.
I know. But way before his injury, I forgot what year it was, but when he went out, I think it was a knee injury or his ACL, something like that. But when running backs come back from that, they're generally never the same. But there's been a few exceptions, and
Yeah.
he's one of those guys that kind of go, he doesn't look like he did then, but I'm like, but he's still got some abilities to, I feel like, get around the line and kind of make some movements. Like he had some movements today that
He did.
that
He had a decent game
cause
today.
us a
I
little
hate
bit
to say
extra
it.
yardage. That's all it needs sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On a specific run that late in the game, he had one run that just fighting a little bit extra gave us a little bit of extra time that ultimately we win the game because of that extra time that he put in. And my question to you is that what is it about him? I know he lost a little bit of a step when he was before
Yeah,
he
when
got
he got
injured. But
hurt.
before
Yeah.
he got injured, he looked really good. And was then the same? Did you have the same impression of him then when he first got on the team and he had it looked like potential, kind of like
I
Harris
just
does now?
Yeah, the problem I had with him, and he was a little better before the injury some years ago. The problem I've always had with Bolden,
Mm.
okay, is here's the example. Okay, he caught 4. Where am I here? Brandon Bolden caught 4 balls or 4 attempts.
Mm.
So he caught every ball thrown to him. But Joe, for 6 yards. That's the problem I have with Bolden. That's the problem I've always had with Bolden. When he gets the ball in his hands, he looks like he's running in quicksand.
Yeah.
Now that last play he had at the final drive, good play, solid play, made a lot happen, read his blocks well, good vision.
But
That's
that's
few.
what you need in quicksand. Like he's running in quicksand and he's just trudging along and pushing. You go, okay, that's what we get. That's what.
But those
do,
but those plays are few and far between, Joe. This is my problem with him, and they've been that way. I don't like that Belichick, gets married to a guy just because he plays good. He plays on special teams and plays pretty decent on special teams. So now all of a sudden he's your guy on blitz pickup. He by the way, blew a blitz pickup today. I don't know if it was so much him or the guard couldn't pull over, or if it was pull over in time to get that. That was the sack on Mac Jones. And I think that was more of a coaching issue because how many times you're going to go to the play action? You're going to go to that well. Eventually, one of the defensive linemen is going to just key on the snap, no inflection on the cadence by Mac Jones, meaning like he's not trying to draw him off, not trying to change up the snap count. And when you don't do that, defensive linemen come flying through, especially NFL defensive line. And when you run a play action, you got to try to pick that up. So that's the problem I have, to answer your question. That's the problem I have with Bolden, is there's nothing electric in him anymore. Yeah, okay, he's steady a little bit. But that's why, I'm so sick and tired, man, of Belichick putting these guys in the friggin' doghouse. Because you put the ball on the ground. It's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen. You're going to put the ball on the ground. That J.J. Taylor hit last week, that was a perfect helmet on ball, by Tampa defender. So now he's inactive today. Didn't play today. Stevenson gets active, and that Mark Capaldi, chats in and asking.
Say we had that.
He chats in about why is he not getting the rock? Listen, I agree. He's active today. You see, every time he touches the ball, he's going forward. He's pushing for more yards. He's getting that extra 2 and 3 yards. And I don't really have a problem with the way Harris is running either, except the fact that he got to stop fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
What was the first injury I missed? I feel like I missed the first time he went down.
Yeah, it said a chest, but I think he was dealing. And then the second time was the ribs, but I think it was the ribs all along.
Yeah,
I think that was the injury, and he just couldn't. So I mean, I don't know when that
knows out there when you pull one of those muscles or you hurt a rib, you can't breathe, you can't run. It's it's your core.
Yeah, but Joe, that happened after the fumble. Don't give him a pass.
Oh, I'm not giving him a pass. I'm just saying that, you got to hold on to the rock no matter what, because you're in that league that you have.
Especially his 2 fumbles, Joe, one in the Miami game. Okay, one in the Miami game was on the 8-yard line going in for a touchdown that would have given them the lead and probably the win. And this one was as he crossed the goal line. And come on, Jesus Christ, hang on to the ball. You're crossing the goal line.
Just think about the talent that he is, though. Think about this for a second. Like, the talent that Harris is that he's done that, and he's still playing the game.
Yeah.
Bolden now, way back when, did that a couple times after he came back.
And checked
You
out.
didn't see him. You didn't see him at the rest of the season because Belichick put him on the bench. Harris is not on the bench, which is a good thing because I feel like that's a talent he is. It's like you can't put this guy on the bench. You got to keep him moving. Same thing with like Jones in a certain sense, where it's like you got to keep him getting out there, and seeing all these plays and reading all these defensive reads where he knows he needs to move around them. You know what I mean?
Well, he's 14 rushes. Harris was 14 rushes for 58 yards, for about an average of four a carry. Stevenson was 11 carries for 23 yards. He only averaged 2.1. But they, a lot of that, as I said, when it was crunch time, they gave him the ball. So yeah, the numbers, Mark Capaldi, the numbers don't look good for Stevenson, but the eye test. Mark and I talk about the eye test all the time. What does it look like?
That eye test is. I still have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so you look at it. You look at the average over here. Come on, Joe. Don't you even pay attention to when we're talking?
You see me moving. I'm still doing stuff. Stuff is the show still must go on.
Here's the eye test. His 11 rushes for 23 yards, 2.1 yards a carry. That sucks. So when you look at the stat line, you say, yeah, he had a terrible day. But then when you watch the game, and you see him run and you see the few plays that he made in key spots,
right? That's
the eye test. That's watching him, looking at him looks better than the stats do. That makes sense?
Okay, I got you.
So, but again, with so again, I want to see Stevenson get the ball. And don't forget, this guy's been on the shelf since week 1, and he's just getting back going again. But yeah, Harris, you can't put the ball on the ground, especially going through. Listen, I've coached kids. There's one running back that I've coached. Okay, number 42. This kid is a bull in the center of the field. If that kid sniffs the goal line. Yep. And he's 14, 15 years old. If that kid sniffs the goal line, there's no way on the planet he's putting the ball on the ground. Okay? So if that's happening, Damian Harris for sure shouldn't be putting that ball on the ground, crossing the goal line, for Christ almighty. They could have had another win against Miami, and maybe it's 3-2 right now. Looking at it saying, shit, they played great against Tampa. They could easily be 4-1. And that's the difference between wins and losses here. But as far as the running backs go, again, it's not look, 126 yards off 30 carries. It's a good. Yeah. I mean, it's a good day, and one touchdown. So again, but they had the fumble. So and then when you go to you're talking about Mac Jones having the poise in the pocket. You go to the receivers today. Listen, I thought guys, the guy who I thought made a lot of strides today was Jacoby Myers. And he's slowly
the only one. He's the only one.
Yeah. He's becoming a real go-to guy. And what I saw in him today, we keep talking about they can't get anybody downfield. They can't get anybody to stretch that defense, right? And throw over the top. He made a move to now. He effed up real bad and he dropped that ball that probably could have been a touchdown pass because he could have cut underneath him and gotten into the end zone. But the way what I'm looking at on that play is how he came off the ball. Yeah. How he got off that press and got himself open. And his hand fighting. The thing you can notice about real good wide receivers, Joe, is they're able to hand fight at the line of scrimmage and really get themselves away from coverage, away from the corner safety, whoever's on them.
Yeah.
And you see the best can do it. Hopkins, Adams, Devontae Adams. These guys are great at it, And I see Jacoby Myers on that one play in particular. His hand fighting was pretty damn good, and he got wide open. And you saw Mac Jones, for all his criticism of not getting the ball down the field, you saw him go down the field with that ball to him, and Myers has got to complete it, but make the catch. But how'd you feel about the wideouts today?
I feel, you know what? I'm gonna try to channel Mark for a second because I can't stand it. I cannot stand watching. Listen, you don't have Tom Brady anymore. Tom Brady made all of the wide receivers who came through that team throughout the whole way through. And
Sorry,
The
Joe.
Welkers, the Elements. I love those guys. They were awesome, right?
Yeah.
But we never have had, except for the one time, and you saw what happened when you had the one time Randy Moss came through.
Yeah.
How the dynamic changed. We actually looked like a Super Bowl team from the start.
And they
and
were.
You look at all the Super Bowl teams from way past. They all had at least one wide receiver.
Yeah, they have one number one
running back and one quarterback who all knew what they were doing. You go through the list: Montana, Rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then and Craig, and then you have Aikman, Smith. Irving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And then we had that one time, but then we had an added element of Welker, which none of them had. And you go, okay. Right. But we didn't have the running back at the time. We had another situation like Belichick loves to do and put people mixing people here and there. It's like, dude, get one of each. Go and find them and get people who are designated, like Mark says, to that position and let them be awesome. Please.
Let him stretch the field. You got a kid that can. You got a kid that puts a nice touch on the ball that he can get the ball down the field. No friggin' receiver to do it with. Yeah, listen, and that's that goes back to personnel. I texted you through this game talking about the player personnel, and it sucks. And it has sucked for the last 3 to 4, 5 years. The drafts have been atrocious. They could have had guys like Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown in Tennessee. These are guys that they passed on to take N'Keal Harry, who, by the way, on N'Keal Harry watch, one catch. He had two attempts, one catch for 9 yards. I mean, first round pick.
He must have lost, against what's the name of the card game that they had to take him. Right. What's his buddy over there? And
I don't know. They took him out of the Pac-12. I mean, they took him from Arizona State, which is in my backyard over here. But and Mark comes down on me because I got to see him play every week, and I thought he did some good things. But what he points,
Belichick's buddy though in the college
Saban,
Nick
Saban. But at least that's Alabama. At least you're gonna get. At least you get a shitload of There were good players in Alabama. All you got to do to draft wide receivers, just go to the SEC. Draft any receiver from Alabama, LSU, Florida, right? I mean, Clemson. I mean, draft those receivers, and you can't go wrong. I mean, that's what it seems like. So. I don't know.
Out there, if you got access to get this show to Belichick's inbox, send it because he needs to listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's Belichick at suckdraftingreceivers.com.
Or drafting any receiver, just like anybody. You know what I mean?
Right. So again, I mean, there were 23 catches for 231 yards, of 28 targets. And again, Mac Jones, I give him a lot of credit for that. He seems to be clicking with Hunter Henry. So
I was just going to say that you see that moment where that clicking is starting to happen. It's like he's got to have some go-tos. He's got nobody, right? And if Myers is going to be one and Hunter's going to be one, it's like, okay, cool. Then get them the plays that are going to make those third down conversions, because that's what we're losing every week. I mean, this week we had one. And guess what it came out to? A touchdown. It's like, see, we can do this.
But Joe. The red zone. I mean, the red zone offense. Listen, I can't deal with this anymore. It sucks. I mean, it's not good. I mean, you cut down in the red zone, it's field goal. What did Nick Folk hit today? 4 of them? Let me see here. He's 4 for 4. 4 for 4, the long of 52, who, by the way, he was fantastic today. But you get in the red zone 4 times, you get 1 touchdown, 4 field goals. That's crap. I mean, you can't, and I don't put it on Jones. I don't put it on the backs. I put it on play calling.
Oh, yeah. No, it has to, because it's like this is a pattern that you can see over the years, and it doesn't matter who's behind the center. It's a pattern that you go, who's been doing this continually?
Yeah.
Season after season, you see these games, you're going, why aren't we winning these close games? Goes all the way back, and there's always one guy it comes back to. You know what I mean?
I know. And when because Mark wants to turn the reins over to McDaniel, but like I'm watching him call plays in the red zone, and it's almost like they just call them like they're afraid. They're afraid to let this kid throw into the end zone. And I don't understand that. And you know blows my mind. This is a play action pass team. You know, you see it. They must have done it about 6,000 times today, where they fake the handoff and the quarterback keeps it, drops back, and throws the ball. Yet when they get into the red zone, they completely. That's where it works.
Yeah,
with your tight ends.
Yeah, right.
You play action, you pop the tight end, right, or you throw a little fade to him. You let him get over the top. Jonnu Smith. Joe, I don't see any of that crap.
No,
I just don't see any of that happening. So. Offensively, and we're over. So offensively, there's still a lot of work to do, but I'm impressed with the offensive line. And, but when we come back, okay, and by the way, MacMania was brought to us by Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance and Drive Yourself to Success, specialsaucepodcast.com. And when we come back, Joe, this is where I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh,
right after this.
Stay tuned, everybody.
How do I get to the point where I understand my passion enough to communicate it outward and dial myself in so that I can craft my own sauce? But you don't have anyone that's going to give you the right advice. Now you do. We've been discussing where we live and what areas do we want to always talk about. And really, it's startup, it's finance, and drive. We are Special Sauce Podcast.
It's startup, it's finance, and it's drive, Joe. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. I love those spots, I really do. And we had him on the show.
We did. It was
not that long ago, a few months ago. He was pretty good. He knew his stuff.
He does. That's another talent I work with the Special Sauce Podcast. I also produce and direct that show as well. And that's a podcast about the startup, finance, and drive. And small business. He's worked with small businesses for a long time, and Main Street business, and trying to help people. A lot of veterans, a lot of help there. So a lot of the episodes that are in our podcast library are a lot of good ones. Kind of people.
All right, that's enough love. That's enough love on this friggin' show.
This is
okay. That's enough. That's enough love on the show. Now I've given a lot of the positives and all that crap.
Back to hate and anger.
Yeah, let's get back to the New England feel.
Yeah,
let's get back to the New England feel. Joe,
Rocket.
For as good as the defense was last week against the player that shall not be named, they were terrible today. Now they picked it up in the second half and got off the field a few times, but I don't think the first punt didn't come from the Texans until into the third quarter. That's just horrendous. The worst is to allow. Now listen to these numbers. Listen to this. Okay. The first drive of the game, 19 plays. The Texans ran 19 plays, 10 minutes on the clock, which is basically 3/4 of the quarter.
Yeah.
10 minutes of the clock, and they finish with a touchdown. Do you realize that was the Texans' longest drive in 10 friggin' years, Joe?
That was the headline on all the sites was that what you just said. You know what I mean?
That's disgusting. I mean, this is against a rookie quarterback. This kid was 21 of 29 for 312 yards and 3 touchdowns. What the hell? Listen. I understand Mills was out today. Okay. Jalen Mills on the defensive side of the ball. The corner was out. But my God. Their secondary, Quan Williams, sucked. Devin McCourty sucked today.
Yeah.
Okay. And he looks slower and slower and slower every damn week.
Yeah.
You saw that touchdown pass recorded on the sideline. By the way, there were like 3 guys on their team, or 2 of the 3 touchdowns were guys that were their first touchdowns of the season, just so you know. Okay. And
Oh man.
They caught that ball on the sideline. Juwan Williams was nowhere to be found. He was kind of and McCourty was late getting over and just dove out of bounds.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? I can't go because I can't deal with it right now.
I couldn't even tell you what to make of that, because you know what, we talked about it last night, you and I, and you were by the way, folks, this guy knows his defensive coordination, let me tell you, and he was showing me some routes and things like that, and what to look for as far as, wide receivers, or what defensive secondary look for and look at, and really breaking apart the plays. The NFL style.
Who are you talking about? You're talking about me?
I'm talking about
I don't know
you.
what the hell I'm talking about.
David,
It's like throwing shit at the wall and see what sticks, Joe.
Yeah, I know. That's the Patriots.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But some of the things you opened my eyes to were like logical things in my brain going as far as human being on the field. But then I'm like, oh, I get now what they're looking for and what they're seeing. But none of that happened. What you showed me, like none of that happened today. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Now I'm like questioning you. I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But you do, though, because I saw none of it. But I now witnessed seeing it not happen. So you go, okay, it's them. It's not that like you don't know what you were talking about. It's like you were showing me what fundamentally needs to happen on the defensive secondary, and they weren't doing that. But I finally got a chance to see what that meant, and where guys were getting open and people losing coverage. It's like, I don't know. I can't tell. You know what? I can tell you why, but we'll get that at Coach's Corner. That's why.
Yeah, listen. Look, my 14-year-old son, okay, plays corner. All right, so he's in here, and I'm gonna. This is one play that just. Oh no, not one play. Do you know? Let me see. Let's see if I can find it in the team stats. But they were on, where is it? 4th down, 3rd down conversion. Where's 4th down? Come on. All I know is on 4th down conversion, they were like 3 for 3. The Texans. That coach didn't hesitate. He could give a rat's ass about going for it on 4th down. It didn't matter where he was on the field because he knew he was going to get it every single time.
Yeah.
But what made it worse, Joe, was the fact that New England puts themselves into 3rd and 16, 3rd and 15, or the Texans did, and New England gives up 14 yards off 3rd and 15. They give up 15 yards off 3rd and 16, puts them into a 4th and 1.
Yeah.
I mean, that just can't happen. That can't happen. I mean, you can't, you've got to be able to get off the field at least on 3rd down and long, for Christ almighty. I mean, I can't. And Joe, so it's that, okay? It's the breakdowns in the secondary that just make me sick. Guys that are trailing, guys guys just don't get into the hip, staring into the backfield. I get it. I get defensive backs have got to read the quarterback for set and then transfer and see where he's coming out with the ball through your receiver to him. I understand that, but you can't do it at the expense of being 2 yards away from your receiver. You're not covering them now.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I get it. I mean, this is the NFL. Guys are going to sit down in the zone for you play in a zone. Guys on the other team are going to find the holes in it, and if there's not enough pressure, they're going to get the ball out. But Joe, the 2 plays that made me sick, okay, to my stomach as a defensive backs coach, all right? And again, I have my 14-year-old son sitting in here, and he's watching this scene, and he goes, okay, so it's 4th and 2, okay?
Yeah.
4th and 2. This team, they had a couple of successful throws down the field, which was just breakdowns and coverage.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they weren't really running by our guys. So on 4th and 2, you got one receiver split way out wide. Right? If he's that far out wide, there's one thing that should be going through the corner's brain in that moment on 4th and 2. A quick slant to get the first down if they throw the ball.
Yeah.
All right. So instead, now in this particular occasion, they weren't split way, way wide, but they were maybe, I don't know, they were maybe inside the numbers a little bit. But even with that, so my son says, he sees that scene, he's like, Dad, why is the corner 7 yards off this guy? Why is he playing 7 yards off the ball, off him? Why isn't he pressed on the inside to take away the slant? This is a 14-year-old kid, all right, who can see that. I'm screaming at the TV in the same moment saying, play inside this guy. What are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Like, it's a slant. It's coming. And boom, there it was, 4th and 2. And they did it again on 4th and 1.
That's the kicker, is they did it again. It's like you saw it the first time, and they slapped you in the face and did it again. That's the problem. You know what I mean?
So I don't understand. And now we listen to James Lofton on the broadcast, who, by the way, just so you know, this is the bad part of the Patriots sucking, okay, and being a crap team now, is that you get the worst broadcast crew. You get the worst. You get the worst of the worst. You don't get the good angles. They don't bring as many cameras to the game, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, you don't get every single replay.
Tell me about it. That still burns me to this day, because when I was living in Los Angeles, I bought the NFL packets, $200 a month, DirecTV. I'm like, all right, finally I get to watch the Patriots, get some Sunday fun day going. It was the year Moss was there, and guess what? They were already gone Sunday. So I wasted the money. I didn't even have to pay for it. They were on TV because they were good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's just sickening. It makes me, and then the announcer says, well, you can't play inside to take away the slant because there's too much real estate. There's too much field to give them an open look with a fade down the sideline, like, go pattern.
Right.
There's too much space there. Okay, then take your safety who's playing 15 yards off the ball. He's basically playing in the parking lot. Okay, take him and shade him outside make him go outside the hash on 4th and 2.
Yeah.
Come up to 10 yards, and he can deal with the if the guy breaks outside, so that your corner can get inside and take away the friggin' slant. Like, I mean,
don't they do like fake the look anyways? You know what I mean? At least
I'm spitting all over my mic because of this.
We need to save these microphones. You know what I mean? Mark has already tossed away and broken several.
He's lost like every piece of equipment.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Keep sending to him.
I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is.
I don't know. It's somewhere. That's the count. I don't know. It's somewhere.
Something like that, like you said, get outside the hash and or at least fake it, make it look like you're gonna go. Like,
yeah,
fake the move.
Again, it's and we spent a lot of time on the secondary because they were atrocious today. They flat out were. Now, the front, we've had our problems in run defense, and we continue to have our problems in run defense. And this is against the Texans. Okay, so they rushed for 67 yards. I get it. But when they needed to, again, the eye test.
Yeah.
The numbers, this has been the story with the defense every game. The numbers aren't terrible, but the eye test, they fail it every damn week. And I'm looking at it, Joe, and again, coaching. We're going to get to that. It's coaching to me. You got guys playing in outside gaps that they call them 3 techniques, 7 techniques, where and they're leaving that gap in the middle open between like guard to guard to guard. They're leaving that section open so the linebackers can fill that if there's a run. My God. I haven't seen them play that type of defense and successfully all season long. All season long. And all Ingram did to get the short yardage was just hit those 1 holes and 3, and 2 holes and just get through the center, and the linebackers are late trying to fill. Yeah. So it's not good enough, Joe.
No, because especially, when you look at some of these defensive coordinators and you look at who's in the roster, you look at one at least who was a star in that regard, but he was on the field. You know what I mean? That's the difference. It's like you have somebody that was there. He knows what's happening or what did happen relatively recently. You know what I mean? In Mayo. And you're like, what? Why are you guys not communicating? What's happening?
Yeah, as I said, I friggin' when you have, this is the stat line. When you see this for defensive stats, okay, you see defensive backs are leading the team in tackles. Now, they threw the ball over the field, so I get some of that. But Duggar, then Hightower, okay. Then Phillips, Jackson, McCourty. Those are your top tacklers today. That's a problem. If your defensive backs are the ones making all the tackles, you got issues. I mean, that's kind of simplistic what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well,
but
because that's the thing. You have to make it simplistic because it always, no matter what sport it is, it comes down to the fundamentals of that sport. And that's one of those basic things. It's like just, like in baseball, Buckner, we always talk about make fun of. It's like get down on the ball.
He shouldn't have been on the field, Buckner.
On the field. You know what I'm saying? Basics.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about here.
But okay, so the run defense still is poor. They still need to do correct. Now they got better in the second half. They did. I thought the Texans play calling the second half sucked. So I mean, they did a lot to themselves. But now the pass rush, other than Judon, I mean, Judon's fantastic. And by the way,
what I want to talk about.
Yeah, he passed Andre Tippett today for the most sacks in the first 5 games of a season. He's got 7.5 right now. He had 2 sacks today. Coming in, he was 1 down from Tippett, and he had the 2. So he's the all-time leader for the Patriots in sacks for the first 5 games. You ever wonder where those friggin' stats come? Look, think about the stats. He's the all-time leader for the Patriots in sacks the first 5 games on a fall day when it was the middle, the odd day of the year, and it fell on a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where this shit comes from, Joe.
Costas. You gotta be Bob Costas. He's the only one who knows all that stuff.
Right. But so again, it's the run defense. And I know we're over, so I want to get to quickly the pass rush. Are we good? Are we good with Winovich now? Can we see him? Can we not see him on anywhere but special teams? Because he sucks. He sucks at getting around the edge now. Yeah. We keep calling him a one-trick pony. Where he just drops the shoulder and tries to get around the tackle. Never a different move. Never a step up and loop around. Never a spin move. Never a taking on and shedding it and come under. Never. Yeah. It's just always that drip your shoulder no matter what the offensive guy is doing to him. He could be getting into his body. He could be. It doesn't matter. And he's never there.
Yeah, it's enough where every defense can try something new. You know what I mean? It's like, I've never try to block the guy this way because he does the same thing every time. It's like, let me try this. They get to that point instead of being on their toes and wondering what's going to come at them. It's ridiculous to watch.
Right. I mean, put Uche again. Mark screams about this all the time. Why isn't Uche on the field more? I don't even see him show up in the stat line.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was active today. What the hell? Why? How is he not on the field instead of Winovich? My God, he can get to the quarterback so much better. With so much more success.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand the decisions, Joe. I really don't. So again, if they're going to have any success, okay, the defense is going to have to get just ridiculoly better than.
Well, you're going to start relying on the talent. You know what I mean? Like Uche, I lost my train of thought, but because of this, it's like you got talent out there, but now you're relying on your coordinators to come up with a plan. And it's like, forget your plan. Give these guys who have the talent to do what they do. Let them just do it. You know what I mean? Instead of you trying to figure out some strategic plan to kind of get to, you know what I mean? Because they obviously are not working. Any of these strategies that they use defensively.
Right. So, okay. So, again, like I said, the defense is got to get so much better than they are. And McCourty looks old. Hightower looks old, by the way. I have to believe this is it for them. So, Joe, I'm telling you, this is making me crazy. So, when we come back, get to our new segment, our new feature, Coach's Corner, right after this.
All right.
Back in with more Pats Nation, the Real Patriots postgame show. Final score, New England Patriots 25, the Houston Texans 22. Although if you're tuning in now, you would think that they lost the game, but they
tune in every week. You think that they lost the
right.
game.
They think they lost. That's the typical New England feel, right?
Yeah,
We're always going to point out the negative.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, I told you before. If you see the blue shirt with the Pat Patriot on it, that means we won the game. You know, so you got to make sure you watch every week so you understand those things. Joe, Coach's Corner. You know, give me your thoughts on the coaches, please. We're gonna go over today, but that's all right.
We need a clean sweep. You know what I mean? And there's some cherry picks out there where you can go, okay, keep that guy. But I agree with Mark. It's just like we need a clean sweep of like who's in there and who needs to be in there. And aren't there coaches out there that can we can hire that don't have the last name Belichick, or you know what I mean? That there's any nepotism, because it's like fine. It would be awesomely fine if
they were good.
Yes, if they actually pulled in some of Belichick's like gene pool of what they say is him playing chess. If they pulled some of that in, but that's not the case. It skipped a generation apparently.
Yeah, look, I already talked about McDaniel. Okay, his problems in the red zone, and I get that. Okay, so we don't have to talk about that, but I'm starting to agree that this is it for Belichick. They won the game today, but his personnel decisions are showing up all over the field.
That's the thing. It's like, okay, is it his plays decision or is it his personnel decisions? And
I don't
want to see it.
Yeah, well, I don't like some of the game plan, on defense to begin with.
Yeah,
but I thought it was real good last week. I gave him his props last week. So coaching wise, he's still in it. He's still in it. But personnel wise, Joe, he sucks. Flat out sucks.
All the way down, dude. That goes all the way down to the personnel. It goes down to the field. They're still personnel, and it's like, Judon. You look at him and you go, okay, wow, Belichick's finally found maybe the idea of Lawrence Taylor back in the mix. Which you think, why hasn't he done that for the last 20 seasons?
Spend the money on skill. Spend the money on skill.
Yes, but none of that. And then you go, and I've looked at this. This has been glaring for Belichick for the longest time. I'm the only one who's been singing to myself the fact that, like, is he really playing chess? I asked you guys this one episode. Is he really playing chess or checkers, or is he losing a step with any of that? Because now that people are gone, names you won't name, it's shining, going, wait a minute. Was Brady that good that he pulled all those elements together that he, held the shroud over our eyes for this long of a time that we didn't really see it, that Belichick was actually good at all? That's the question.
You know how I feel about this whole, like, is it Brady? Is it Bell?
I know.
I'm not, look, it's like I said, drafts. The drafts, Mark has pointed this out millions of times. He doesn't surround himself with good enough skilled people. He gets married to these friends of his, and I think you were talking about UCLA, the coach over there too.
Yeah.
He gets married to these college coaches that he takes guys from there, Rutgers, the local joints. Yeah, okay, Alabama, but like not good enough, not the skill guys. He doesn't do that.
Right.
So, that's the problem that I have, and it drives Mark insane. But now as it relates to in the season, you lose guys. When you lose guys when when you're successful. You lose front office personnel, you lose coaches, all the way down the line. And I get it. That team has been stripped. But who are you replacing them with? This is the problem. It's all internal. Troy Brown's the wide receiver coach. Gerard Mayo's the inside linebacker coach. Belichick is the defensive back coach. The other Belichick is whatever the hell he's doing over there.
Did you see the one shot on the wash I put in there? I was like, that's going to be a meme for sure. And it was, with the tongue out.
Yeah. Look, so again, it's the coaching is just subpar right now because of player personnel. And now it's showing up all over the field. It's everywhere. They didn't do enough. They didn't get a safety to replace McCourty. McCourty's, he's done. They didn't get a good enough inside linebacker early, long ago to take care of Hightower, to replace Hightower. And they had been doing that.
Yeah.
You had inside linebackers, Pfeiffer, and then you went over to Mayo, and then you had Hightower, and there were guys coming through. But coincidentally, that was when Pioli was there, Dimitrov was there, Caserio. These were guys that were taking care of the drafts.
Yeah.
And here's Belichick now. It's like Parcells. Parcells was terrible at player personnel. It was Young who did it there. And Belichick's the same. So when you talk about a dinosaur, you may be right about that, Joe. So again, the defense, not good enough. Judon is the sole positive to me on there. And again, the coaching is going to have to get a lot better. But honestly, Joe, I think it may come a time. It may be time to just clean the house. And I put it on Kraft too. He's 1A of a problem here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kraft needs to do a better job as an owner of seeing this crap happen and revitalizing this team. So it's going to end up that they ended up with the wrong guy. You know what I mean? So our Coach's Corner was brought to us by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Now, Joe, it's time. It's time for I think this is like our favorite segment. It's certainly Mark's favorite segment.
Yeah. I mean, he titled it for sure because it's he's always talking about the stiffs in this team.
Our Sunday stiff right now.
There we go.
Okay, Joe, let's have it.
I get it. We're just talking about it, and I the Belichick name. Anybody who lands and has that name and is on this team is my stiff, because it's just week after week, season after season, where it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Whether it's personnel, game strategy, whatever it is, one of them is dropping the ball. One of them. And let's talk about the two main ones, but they're my Sunday stiffs for this week, because I just can't stand it, because it's like, again, the pattern. You're starting to see this pattern going.
Say it again because
like all of the above, all three Belichick.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's a case with this team. It's like these guys are muffing up your game plan. You know what I mean? And it's just
well, listen, and we're aching. I know somebody's aching to give their Sunday stiff of the week, and and we got to give him crap because he's he just took the week off. It just seems like he just took the week off, but I know he wants to get his Sunday stiff in. So let's bring him on right now. The other half of this, Mr. Catone, is he out? Is he in there, Joe?
Let's add him in. He is in.
Am I in?
Yeah, you're loud. You're screaming already. But
Okay,
yeah,
because listen. I am so disgusted in the coaching today. It's ridiculous how disgusted I am with the coaching. However, my Sunday stiff is going to be the secondary.
You had to take mine. Go ahead.
Well, listen.
First you don't show up, Mark. You don't show up, and then you take my Sunday stiff.
Listen. What great minds think alike, Christopher. Great minds think alike.
Wow,
listen, Chris, how do you let a practice squad receiver get over 100 yards receiving, and you let a quarterback who's a backup do what that guy did? He had like 144 passer rating. Are you kidding me? But listen, and I texted you during the game.
Oh, we lost them.
We lost them.
Jeez, that's how riled up he gets about this Sunday stiff, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, while he's trying to figure out how to get back in, I'll give my Sunday stiff, and I'll finish the thought for him. Yes, how do you? I'm with the secondary too. I got that too, because how do you allow a guy? Okay, how do you allow a guy that to have that 144 passer rating? Okay, and just dismantle that secondary when the player who won't be named couldn't do it last week. So it's that inconsistency of it, Joe, you know, and Mark, if you're still listening, it's the inconsistency of it that pisses me off. And you're going to tell me Mills means that much to the secondary where they just collapse without him? Jawan Williams, he should never see the field again. That guy should never, ever, ever see the goddamn field again. And who I'm going to give the main Sunday stiff to, honestly, is Devin McCourty.
Yeah.
Because that's the leader of that secondary, and he was late all the time. He's slow. He's, and if he doesn't have it anymore, then he should know better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But Jawan Williams sucked. The whole secondary did.
So I feel like that's the thing. I think he might actually know better, but there's a point where he's like, I can't leave these guys. I can't leave them like this, because if not for me, what else is there? Because obviously,
I know they're trying, but I don't know if it's preparation. I don't know if it's just flat out execution. I don't know if it's game planning. I don't know what it is, but it's not good enough.
But people,
and then you let Gilmore go. You trade Gilmore for a 6th-round pick, and that same week you do that. This is what the secondary looks like. Is he back in or what?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So again. So Mark's Sunday stiff clearly is the secondary. He's pissed off about it, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him 1 second. So, yeah. So, and Joe, do you have a Sunday seat? I know, hey, we're over anyway. Do we have a Sunday seat for you?
Do I have a Sunday seat? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get it to one guy who's been consistent. Yes. Okay. His consistency, when there's one miss, in 39, people are like, this guy.
I wish I didn't hear that doink last week, though.
I mean, where's Gostowski? You know what I mean? When he hit, nobody paid attention. This guy hit so many in a row, season after season.
Joe, he's 4 for 4 today.
Way. And the thing is,
tell him who you're talking about.
Loses a game. It's Nick Folk. Sorry, Nick Folk is my Sunday seat, because I was getting to the reveal, but he's my Sunday seat because he gets to sit at the table with us for Sunday dinner this week, because you know what? He's the only one doing his job consistently. But the problem is with the kicker, it's that one moment they miss it. They're the guy who lose the game for everybody. And they're the one like, this guy sucks. Right. It's like, dude, you can't give that to the guy who's been the only consistent person on the team.
No, I mean, I agree. Listen, that's a good Sunday seat, Joe. I mean, it really is. It's a good Sunday seat.
And how old is he now? He's still consistent like that.
Yeah, he's
I think he's older than Brady, isn't he?
Well, I mean, he's up there for sure. So yeah, he had a great game. 4 for 4. He was. God, I wish like hell we didn't have that doink last week though off the post. But you know what? It is credit. It was in the rain. It was a 56-yard attempt. I mean, that's tough to do. But he kicked in the clutch today. I agree with you. My Sunday seat. Listen, I'm going to give it to them today. I was going to give it to Judon, and he gets an honorable mention. Judon all season could sit at our table. I mean, that guy's earned that at this point.
Yeah.
But I got to give it to the offensive line today.
Wow.
I have to give it to the offensive line because 4 out of 5 guys were missing. And they managed to put it together, protect Jones pretty well, 1 sack. He didn't get hit that many times. No. They ran the ball for 126 yards. So to me, the offensive line is the Sunday seat. So Sunday Stiff was presented by Jag Media Productions. Joe, beautiful job by the company handling this show, of course, and all others. Jag Media Productions. It's getting to that time, Joe, to wrap it up. Let's get to our 2-minute warning. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. All right, Joe. Let's go. Jump in.
2-minute warning.
There you go. Because I talk too much. So go ahead.
No, but I mean, it's one of those things where I get riled up about these coaches, and what I feel like they need to do is they need to look at themselves. I think we might have Mark in the.
Well, yeah. Finish your wrap up
and start looking at and reviewing the video and the film on themselves and their strategies, and going, we're not doing it. What do we need to do to improve? Because we got guys who are willing to listen. That's the thing. You don't have any divas out there. You got people willing to listen, but they're like, if they can't execute, that's because they're listening to garbage.
Yeah.
And the captains of the ship are not steering it clearly enough for them. That's the problem. That's my.
Is he in? Is he in again?
We lost him again. He's in.
Come on, Mark.
He's in. He's out.
Well, listen, he's not in, but I know him well enough to know that his final thought here and his wrap up would probably be coaching again.
Yeah.
That we just can't be a good football team anymore with the coaching the way it is, with the personnel. For me, I don't know how to look at this team right now, Joe. Like, I'm looking at this team and saying, look, 1 minute I want to say, you play Tampa, you look fantastic. You really look good. And it's a game you should have won. It was everything you didn't do instead of what Tampa did to you.
Right.
Then you turn around this week and you lay this kind of an egg. Now, they won the game. I get it. But they lay this type of egg in this performance. So are they playing down to their competition, or are they not a good football team? And that's yet to be determined right now, because today didn't look like a very good football team. So if they are and they're playing down to their competition, that's coaching too.
Yeah.
That's all coaching too.
Yep.
It's having your team prepared.
Yep.
And if if Belichick's plate is too full, if he's spread too thin because the rest of his staff stinks, that's on him too.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was my point too. Yes.
And if they don't clean it up, next week the Cowboys come in, and right now they're up 17-10 over the Giants, who they should dismantle today.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are coming into town next week, and if you have a performance like this, Dak Prescott will throw for 500 yards.
Yeah.
Period. And we'll get to that in Corso and Catone on Saturday at 7. We'll preview that game. So yeah, 2-minute warning was presented by Corso and Catone. Just speaking of which, Saturday, 7 p.m., every Saturday, 7 p.m., Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. And as I said, we'll preview that Cowboys, the Cowboys travel to New England, and we'll preview that game. So, Joe, we're at the end, pal. And some people to thank today. Want to thank the good people over at Special Sauce Podcast, Startup Finance, and Drive Yourself to Success. SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Again, Jag Media Productions, fantastic job today. Studio 42 Designs for all your graphic design needs. Studio42designs.com. Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. And Mountain View Home Watch and Security, Scottsdale's leading home watch and security firm. Joe, got to thank you today. You did a fantastic job. We got to give Mark a lot of crap for ditching us. You ditched us, Mark. I know you're listening. He's probably at the family function. He's probably got one of those things in his ear.
Oh, yeah.
You know, getting yelled at for not paying attention over there. So if you are listening, Mark, hey,
we love you, Mark.
We still love you. And listen, that still shows something that you're listening to that instead of paying attention to what you probably should be. So that's fine, Mark. So listen, make sure you tune in next week to the Pats Nation postgame show as the Dallas Cowboys come into New England to take on the Patriots. And that's going to be a 4:25 start Eastern. Our postgame show and all our coverage will be 30 minutes following that game. And, you know, they got to clean it up, Joe.
They got to clean it up.
But also tune in to Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feels. Again, Saturdays at 7 p.m. We will have the preview of that very same Patriots-Cowboys game. So, for briefly, Mark Catone, Joe Guarnieri, I'm Chris Corso. Final score, Patriots 25, Texans 22. So long, everyone.
That's the win.